let's continue further with the next topic, proportion. But before that, very important thing about the ratio, that when we are talking about the ratio, the units must be same. Units must be same. This is very important question. Understand what do you mean by units must be same. For example, I was talking about the glass of water, 4 milliliter and 8 milliliter. I can easily divide because milliliter will be cancelled, and the ratio is 1:2. It means if I talk about that, the ratio, that how to define it, that amount of water in glass A, amount of water in glass A is half of the amount of water in glass B. This is glass B, this is glass A. This is what ratio defines. The amount of water in glass A is half of the amount of water in glass B. So now, if it was not milliliter, for example, I am writing 4 gram and 8 kg, and I am writing the answer is 1:2. Do you think I am correct? No, you just cut this. But what about the units? Units are not same. So you have to consider the units also. Either you will convert gram into kg or kg into grams. One thing at a one time. This is very important, that in ratio the units must be same. So now let's move on to the topic, proportion. So I told you what do you mean by proportion, the equality of two ratios. If two ratios are equal, A ratio B equal to C ratio B, it means A by B is equal to C by D. Then we'll call them, they are in proportion. They are in proportion. For example, 1:2 is equal to 2:4. You can see 1/2 is equal to 2/4. If I'll cut, I'll be getting 1/2 only. They are in proportion. Are we clear? If A by B is equal to C by D, or A ratio B, proportion, this is the sign of proportion. Do remember, this is the sign of proportion. Double dots, double vertical dots. This is a sign of proportion. Whenever you see, just understand this ratio is proportionate to this ratio, CT. Then 4 quantities are in proportion. Clear? They are represented by how? A ratio B, proportion C ratio B. How we read? A ratio B, proportion C ratio B. Where A and D, where A and D are called extremes. These two terms are called extremes. Because why extremes? Extremes means last. Extreme position. Extreme position means the final position. They are at the last, that is why they are called extremes. And B and C are called means. Means they are coming in between. That is why they are means and they are extremes. To be in proportion, the very important condition is this. This condition you have to remember lifelong. If you need to know whether the two ratios are in proportion or not, then this condition must be fulfilled. A into D is equal to B into C. What do you mean by A into D? The product of extremes must be equal to the product of means. Let me take an example and let's prove it whether they are in proportion or not. For example, I am considering ratio 3:4 and I am considering the ratio, for example, 4:, let me take 6. Now, 3:4, that is 4:6. This is how we represent. Now if I talk about, can I write 3:4 proportionate? We are writing about the proportionate thing. We are writing, I think we are not able to see. I'll just write here. Understand? I was talking about 3:4 and 4:6. So we'll be writing 3/4 is equal to 4/6. Let's see. It means 3:4 proportionate to 4:6. So A ratio B double ratio C ratio D. This is how we will be writing. If I have to prove, what was the rule? Product of extremes must be equal to product of means. So 3 into 6 must be equal to product of means 4 into 4. But it is 18, but here it is 16. Are they equal? No. It means they are not in proportion. So if two things are not in proportion, if they are not following this rule, they are not in proportion. Or another way of doing is this, by cross multiplication. What is cross multiplication? The numerator of first ratio with the denominator of second. How will be writing? Numerator of first ratio multiplied by denominator second ratio is equal to numerator of second ratio multiplied with denominator of first ratio. This is how we write cross multiplication. Any doubt anyone is having? So proportion, very important condition is this. Now let's understand the next type of proportion, that is continued proportion. Continued means something needs to be in the continuity. Understand, if I am having A, B, C, I am not considering the D part, I am considering only three numbers, are said to be in continued proportion if A ratio B proportionate to B ratio C. What I did, the number which is coming in between, I repeated this number 2 times. I have considered the B with A also, I have considered with C also. That is why continued. The B, the number term B is continued with the A also, is continued with C also. That is why it is known as the continued proportion. Clear? So A ratio B proportionate to B ratio C, where C is called third proportional to A and B. If I am talking about A and B, third proportional. If I am considering A, B, B, it is fourth proportional. So C can be third proportional if three numbers are there. If I am writing A ratio B proportionate to B ratio C, then C is called fourth proportional. You need to be very careful. Understand? So A upon B, how are we writing? A upon B, B upon C, cross multiply, then numerator of first multiplied with denominator of second, numerator of first multiplied with denominator of second, numerator of second multiplied with denominator of first, B into B. B into B means B square. You'll understand why it is B square. If multiplied, power will turn 2. B square AC. I told you, if the square, that side it becomes square root. So don't you think B value is under root AC, where B is called mean proportional because it is the mean value or geometric mean. Mean proportional or the geometric mean. Understand one question. I'll give you one important question. You have to find this question. Let's see. Write down the question first. The question is, write the or find third proportional to 8 and 12. We have two numbers. We have to find the third proportional to 8 and 12. Let the third proportional be x. Because he is saying third proportion be x. So can I write the three numbers? It means they are in continued proportion. Can I write like this? 8 ratio 12 proportionate to 12 ratio x. I hope you have got my point. Because it is continued, 12 is given to 8 also, 12 is given to x also. What is the rule? The product of extremes must be equal to the product of means. Product of extremes, this is the very important rule. Do remember, product of extremes, product of means. What do you mean by extreme terms? 8 and x, so 8 into x. What do you mean by product of means? 12 and 12, 12 into 12. If I solve, there multiply, there divide. Now if I solve, I can directly get 4 2s are and 4 3s are, 2 6 are. What is the answer? 18 is the answer. It means what is the third proportional? 8, 12 and 18. If you observe, you can even, I can prove 8 upon 12 is equal to 12 upon 18. If I'll cut 2 4s is 8, 2 3s are 2 ratio 3. I'll be cutting on table of 6 because 6 2s are 12 and 6 3s is 18. So 2 ratio 3 proportionate to 2 ratio 3. They are equivalent, hence they are in proportion. Are we clear with the example? This is what we have to discuss in the proportion, and this is what is there in the proportion. By this, your proportion topic is even over. I am clear with this.